Welcome back to Final Fantasy VII. Last time we wrapped up all of our loose ends in the game, we mastered all of our enemy skill materia, and we did most of our final setup. The only thing that I changed since last time was a little bit of insurance, because you never know. You never know what can happen. We added final attack with Phoenix on Cloud, so if the worst case scenario happens, Cloud will get a final attack with Phoenix, and go revive. Other than that, everybody's stuff is all the same as we had it last time. Nothing too crazy. I do want to see, though, Id's dexterity. 87. Okay, not bad. So, before we head down, let's go to this screen. Okay. So, there is a gimmick with the final boss where if you meet certain conditions, the final boss will gain more HP. So, the final boss is 2 phases. And if you use Knights of the Round on the last boss before the final boss, if you use Knights of the Round, the first form of the final boss gains an extra 60,000 HP. And the reason I remember this is because it rounds it to 100,000 on the main body of it. Plus, there is an extra penalty if you have characters at level 99, which we have none. If you have characters at level 99, he gains an extra 5,000 HP multiplied by however many characters are at level 99. So if you have 1, 2, 3, or, well, let's name them. Sid, Tifa, Cloud, that's 3. Barrett, Red, Kate, Sith, Vincent, and Yuffie at level 99. He's got 40,000 HP, plus 60,000 if you use Knights of the Round, so that's 100,000, plus an extra 40,000 HP, because 8 characters times 5,000 is 40,000. So the final boss, first form, could have potentially 140,000 HP. And the second form of the final boss, I believe gets an extra, it's an extra 80,000. His HP doubles if you use Knights of the Round. So you could, if you use Knights of the Round, like there's no way to really know it unless you do it, but going into there knowing that they put a penalty on there for using Knights of the Round just kind of goes to show how busted Knights of the Round is. Because realistically, like, you could just use Knights of the Round twice and you win. But let's get this show on the road. We got our main party set up. I don't remember if they randomize your party, so you know what? If our party gets randomized, I'll meet you back here and we'll do this thing over again. And I'll have set up everybody's equipment, but I don't believe that's the case. There's also a set of conditions that if you meet those conditions, or, well, I guess the more appropriate way would be if you don't meet those conditions, you'll fight the first form of the final boss with either 1, 2, or 3 parties. If we can do, so so the one condition is that if your lowest level party member is 34 or less, you'll have to fight with 1 party, or if your average party level is 53 or less, you'll be able to use 1 party. Or if the second last boss gets 13 or more turns before starting their, they'll do a countdown to use Ultima. So we're going to try to get that to trigger. So I'm probably just going to sit there in the battle using White Wind. Oh, Sid's such a great character. Move out! Uh-oh. Of course, edgy boy Vincent. Whoa, this might be a fun pastime. Ha ha ha. Okay, so we're just going to proceed with the party we have. Later, team. All right. So, stone platforms. You have a chance to hit battles on every platform, I think. There we go. So, we got an Iron Man here. Shouldn't be a problem, though. Wow, go Yuffie. 4 times cut makes most enemies in the game a joke. Now, this area here, you'll have a chance to run into dragon zombies. They're part of the encounter rate. Wow, we're getting a suspiciously low amount of encounters, and the fact that they're iron giants is hilarious. It's not going to do much for you, bro. Nothing too scary coming down here, though. And if you did miss Pandora's box, or actually, if you hadn't fought a dragon zombie, I'll rephrase that. If you haven't fought a dragon zombie before this point, you have your opportunity here on these platforms to run into a dragon zombie, potentially. Speak of the devil. But so you'll see here now, when we take out the dragon zombie, doesn't use Pandora's box anymore. Once per save file. Wow, that was a really strangely low set of encounters. I remember there being a lot more encounters on those rocks. Uh-oh, Genova. I love this battle music. It's so good. Okay, so let's throw a big guard out. Okay, so that's 2. Three. I love that slap attack. 4. 5. Oh, okay, never mind. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. One more. 13. Wow, Yuffie with that damage. Oh, I forgot. There's ads here. Uh-oh, Yuffie got stopped. Go, Cloud! Max damage! There's the countdown. Go, Cloud, with those max damage hits! My god! Okay, well, that was Genova. Not a scary boss by any means. You get 60,000 experience for it, though. And 1,500 AP. Oh, boy. Oh, no! The most delayed fall of all time. Oh man, where are we? Everybody just kind of snaps into existence here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh! Sephiroth! I'm really interested to see how they handle this in the third part of the remake. Because at the end of Rebirth, they went ham on the final boss of that portion, and they used parts from this final boss in that game. So I have no idea what they're going to do for the final battle in the third part. What's there? Oh, holy! Okay, we're gonna take Yuffie and Sid, and the game very, 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 very nicely gives you a menu here. So you can top your characters off. We'll just drop a turbo ether each. Good to go. Don't need to check everything. And just, you know, in case you doubt yourself, you can go back into the menu. You'll note, though, you can't access the PHS screen, which means you can't equip stuff on your other characters. But let's do this! Everybody got knocked away. And this is one of those weird translated lines where Yuffie's just like, I don't like it. Like, it doesn't fit with, like, what's going on. Nope, I still want it. We came to tell you our memories? What does that even mean? I feel like there's probably a lot of stuff that got left out. of like the context of the original translation or the original Japanese. But all right, so this is our final boss. Look at all the targets. So you got to take out the parts, and there is a core that will heal him. But so if you just do four times cut, chances are you're going to hit and take out all of the additional parts before you take out the core. Now the core is the one that has 40,000 HP. And we took out most of them. Did we not put the long-range materia on Sid? But yeah, so that's the first form of the final boss. It's as easy as that. It's kind of a joke. As long as you don't use Knights of the Round on Genova, he doesn't get that HP boost, and if your characters aren't at level 99, you don't have to worry about him getting that extra 5,000 HP per character at level 99. I will say, one of the easier final boss first phases in the entire main numbered entries of Final Fantasy. All right, round 2. So this phase, if you used Knights of the Round on Genova, his HP will be double. And he's got about 80,000 HP. So let's get a big guard. Yeah, I feel like I didn't put the long-range materia on Sid. All right, go Cloud. Uh-oh, Shadow Flare. Good thing we got Big Guard up. Does Shadow Flare not hit the entire party? Weird. But yeah, you can learn Shadow Flare and your enemy skill materia from this from this fight. And let's take a moment to appreciate the music. It's so good. Wow, is that it? Oh, man. I kind of feel bad. I remember that fight going on a lot longer. We didn't even get to show off half of what he does. Oops. Oops. Oh, man. Now, I will say, when I was a kid, that final boss, the first form, it never clued into me that you take out the core the part of it that heals him. Because, like, the one part of the first form will heal him for like 6,500 health every turn. So if you can't out damage it, and if you don't have like the 4 times cut stuff, or slash all or whatever, you're going in there and just trying to out damage it, and you probably can't. So I would always get stuck there. And the second phase, he's got an attack that I forget what it's called, but it's this really, really long drawn out scene. I should have let him do it. But, like, in my opinion, one of the easiest final bosses in all of Final Fantasy. Like, even with, like, the most basic setup with your materia, it's like... It's on par from, like, when you max out your characters and fight Chaos at the end of Final Fantasy 1. Uh-oh, Sephiroth's still here. Oh, no! Scared Cloud so bad his soul left his body. Oh, crap, what's going on? Oh, boy. See, and they even ripped this part into Rebirth. Like, it's not exactly the same, but, like, in Rebirth, when you're fighting Sephiroth at the end of the game, you have that one-on-one battle with him. I spoiled it like half a second before they showed that it was Sephiroth. But yeah, it's Cloud v Sephiroth, and you'll notice our HP and MP are different. And that's because this final battle is a formality. I don't think you can actually lose that. Like, he attacks you, you automatically counter, and that's it. It's just Cloud goes to the live stream and gets rid of him. But, like, I mean, at the end of... When you're fighting him at the end of Rebirth, it's very, very, very reminiscent of what goes on here. Because, like, he, like... siphons off Cloud to some alternate... I don't know if I'll call it dimension, but we'll just call it dimension just for the sake of using a word. But he pulls Cloud off to some alternate dimension place, and you're fighting Sephiroth on your own, and then Zack shows up, and then Zack disappears, and then Aerith shows up and you put an end to him. But the only difference here is that they re-included Aerith in Rebirth. Reach, Cloud! Come on, bro, get out of there! Oh no! You know what kind of ridiculous upper body strength you need to pull yourself up with one arm while carrying a human being dangling from you? Like, it's actually absurd. Most people have problems lifting their own body weight up. And I think this is the only time in the game where you have a cutscene where you see the characters' mouths move. Because, like, I don't think there's any other cutscene in the game that shows that much detail around their faces. Yeah, hopefully, hopefully, Holy does the trick. Oh, crap. Well, there goes our ride. Holy crap! Hey, we caught a ride out! Sid just conveniently lands over by the emergency switch, pulley, whatever, and just conveniently steers the airship out of that, even though like the jets got knocked off. I'm pretty sure this is over in calm. Pretty sure. And I don't know what makes... Wow, Meteor's close. I don't know what makes that kid randomly think of Aerith there. I never understood that. Because from my understanding, Aerith was like... Oh, this thing with the twisters, this happens at the end of Remake, so part 1 of the remake. And it kind of leads into like the destruction that leads to the intro to where you meet the party again when Rebirth starts, when they're all like knocked out and stuff and people are being hauled away. But from my understanding, Aerith was kind of like exclusively within Midgar, so I don't know how that kid would know anything about Aerith unless she's been over to Midgar, but there we go. Holy swooped in and saved the day. I don't know how you can see that all the way over from Cosmo Canyon, but apparently you can. Oh boy. Wait a damn minute. In the slums. Red, did you not see Holy swoop in and start pushing back? Yeah, what is that? A live stream. And, you know, as wacky as this ending is, it still makes more sense than the Final Fantasy VIII ending. Then again, most things do. not even just the ending of Final Fantasy VIII, the whole sequence of the end game where you get into time compression. All right, so we got Holy and the live stream coming to Double Team Meteor. Yeah, you might want to close your eyes, guys. It's kind of bright. Aerith coming in to save the day using her fancy pants magic. And that's it. And I believe this music here is unique to the credits. You don't hear it anywhere else in the game. But so, well, you see here how much of a joke Sephiroth is as a final boss. If you have even a remotely decent setup. We hit him with 4x cut and we won. We didn't max out our stats. We didn't do anything weird. We kept our characters in the back row with long range materia, and we hit them with 4x cut. That's it. We didn't use any summons, didn't do Knights of the Round, didn't cheap out that way. We didn't do... we used a big guard, that's it. Now, what I will do... I will go back after the credits are done and everything, and I'm going to go back and, because I want to show off the attacks that the second form of Sephiroth does. So I'm going to just, like, we're not going to go do the whole battle again. I'm just going to splice in, going back and doing that. So, like, I'm not going to show the fight with Genova or you know what? It might be worth it. Not to, like, redo for the sake of redoing, but I think, okay, so I'll leave this as is. What we'll do, I'm going to make one more part to this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this save file, or copy of the save file, and I'm going to go do all the grinding and stuff to get the characters up to level 99 and grind out all of the source items and max out. I don't know if I care about grinding out sources for everyone, but just for our main party, we'll just do we'll do Cloud, Sid, and Yuffie. Or I might even bring another team with us. We might even bring in, I don't know. We'll do it with Cloud, Tifa, and Barret, because why not, right? We showed off Yuffie and Sid. Kate, Sith, and Vincent got their screen time on our descent down the final dungeon. The only one that's getting left out here is Red. And I don't really feel too bad about that because, after all, he is a lab rat dog. So, I mean, definitely nothing too special there. But, so yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll go through, I'll grind all characters out to level 99. And it's nice because they get the passive experience, so I'll be able to grind them pretty quick. I'll just do the W item thing, max out our elixirs, and go fight magic pots in the cave, in that swampy part. And then we'll go out to the sunken ship, grind out all the sources, max the stats out, and then after I'm done that, then next time I'll meet you over at the final descent where we started off today, and we'll head back down, fight the bosses. We'll make sure we use Knights of the Round on Genova, and then you can see the difference in Sephiroth's HP count. And then I'll sit there and I'll cast a big guard, and I'll just sit for a couple turns and let Sephiroth, the second form of Sephiroth, do his thing. The first form doesn't really do too much. He just hits you Like, it's nothing really crazy. It's just you're fighting an uphill battle against the constant regeneration. The second form is a little more spoopy, but I want to show off his big, long, scary attack. And then at the same time, we can show off what the characters look like at max stats. That said, though, a lot of people, I think, fell into kind of what I fell into with the remakes. Because people were like, oh, well, there's no way that they can make Final Fantasy VII into 3 games if they're doing one entire game only on Midgar. But if you look at the story of this game, there's not really a lot to it. You have the sequence with Midgar, which is a big part of the game, and then you have the sequence of events that leads you up to the Temple of the Ancients, which again is like, you go to Junon, you travel to Costa del Sol, you end up over in Cosmo Canyon, you go over to Nibelheim, go through the mountain, end up at Rocket Town, get the tiny Bronco, and then you got to find the key, the keystone, do the Temple of the Ancients, and then you go to the Forgotten Capital, or the City of the Ancients, and Sephiroth skewers Aerith. So that's the end of Rebirth. And after that part, there's not really that much left to the story, because you go through the Icicle Village after you climb up. So you're like, the final part, assuming they stick to the story, you're gonna go through Gaia's Cliff. Or, well, you're gonna find your way over to the Icicle Village. So they'll probably start you off in the Icicle Village or something, but then you're gonna have to go through the snowfield thing, climb up Gaia's Cliff, and then you get out into the northern crater, and you fly away, and you end up having to do the sequence where Cloud and Tifa leave the party, and you got to go through Cloud's memories and save the big materia and stuff. And then you do the raid on Midgar. They're going to get rid of Hojo and fight the Proud Claude, and then they'll have to work in, because like you do have to go back to Rocket Town as part of that, and you do have to go to Bone Village to do some digging. But then they're gonna have to figure out a way to wrap in Wutai. So there's really, and then it's the final dungeon. Like, there's really not a lot left after the end of where Rebirth left off. Because, like, Final Fantasy VII is a relatively short story, all things considered, but we're looking 500 years ahead now. Huh, I thought Red was the last of his species. How did he get kids? Yeah, nature took Midgar back. Mostly. I think they used this final picture of Midgar as a big inspiration for how they set up the reactor in Gongaga in Rebirth. Because it's a very, very similar scene to the way Midgar is looking there. That was the one region of Rebirth I really just did not like, because it was forced. That whole sequence in this game is optional. You don't have to go there. But there we go. The end of Final Fantasy VII. So, like I said, well, I guess let's, or you know what, we'll do it. Do we want to do it next time, or do we want to do it now? Yeah, well, might as well do it now, and then we can just cut to the chase next time. So, soundtrack for this game, amazing. Let's get some background noise here. Oh, this is the trailer for
Long ago, we
Yeah,
looked upon
yeah.
a foreboding
So-
sky.
the soundtrack for this game is
A
absolutely
memory of the
amazing.
star that threatened all burns eternal in our hearts.
Love the soundtrack. The story it's kind of basic, and I think a lot of people get bit by the nostalgia bug where they're like,
Came an age
people
of
put Final
silence.
Fantasy VII up on a pedestal and think like, oh, it's the most amazing game ever, best game of all time, all
Yet
this
with
stuff.
each fond remembrance,
But
we knew
there's really
those
not
encountered were not forgotten.
there's not really that much to the story if you really look at it. Like, I mean, it's a decent story. It makes more sense than what they did with Final Fantasy VIII, but at the same time, you're like,
Perhaps it was no more than
it's really
wishful
not
thinking.
anything. It's not anything really crazy. It's just people, I think, for the sake of
But
nostalgia,
after the long calm,
they get a little
there are
too much
now
into
the
their feels
beginnings
about
of
this
a
game.
stir.
But that said, like, I mean, it's a great game, great
the
story.
reunion at hand may bring
Um,
joy.
The game
bring
balancing,
fear.
the way they did the
Let us
balancing for like
embrace whatever it
encounters and
brings.
enemies and the way your characters grow throughout the game is just
For they
incredibly good.
are coming back.
Really nice balance.
At last,
What else?
the promise. has been
Tons
made.
of variety in the enemies. The materia system, you can customize it so many different ways and do so much with it. And you can go through the game without using materia, really. Like, you don't need to use the materia. It's just, it's there for you if you want it. Let's see. Let's bring us back to... Yeah, let's do this. But yeah, like, you don't need to really use the materia if you don't want to. It's just, if you use it, you can break the game pretty wide open. Like, I mean, you saw how quickly we went through the final boss. It was kind of a joke. I wasn't... Like, I mean, I kind of got myself because I didn't realize how fast it would go by. I didn't realize how quick his 80,000 health would tick down 4 times cut on everyone. But, if you go through this playing in like a minimalist way and you don't do 100%, so you don't go out of your way to get Knights of the Round, you don't master a bunch of the materia, the end of the game puts up much more of a challenge. That said, though, like, it's not ridiculously hard. I find Final Fantasy VII to be one of the easier entries in the series all around. And I think because of what you can do with this game with the materia, I think this game specifically with the materia system contributed directly to why they decided to handle Final Fantasy VIII the way they did. Being that, like, in Final Fantasy VIII, the enemies scaled in level with your characters so that you couldn't get... you couldn't just grind to level 100 at the beginning of the game and just plow your way through. They wanted to find a different way to make it challenging, and at the end of the day, it didn't work because you can cheese the game by staying low level and just using the junctions. So no matter which way they try to do it, they couldn't win. But that's just, I don't know if that's 100% why they did it, but that's just my interpretation of why they went the route they did with Final Fantasy VIII. And why so many people were so off-put by it, because people were used to playing all of the other Final Fantasies up to this point. And at that time when Final Fantasy came out, or Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy VII was the most recent thing in people's minds. So they were used to be able to just, grind to level 99, go master your materia, get the most ridiculous materia setup that you could get, equip 4 times cut on everyone, and just tank through the final Sephiroth fight like it's nothing in just a couple hits. And so I think that's why a lot of people were soured on Final Fantasy VIII. And the story was kind of weird, but overall, it is definitely one of my favorites. Final Fantasy VII is we'll say contender for top 3. It's not my number 1 favorite. I don't know if I could put a number 1 favorite because they're all different. Like, every single Final Fantasy entry is a different experience. So I don't know if you could put a particular number 1 spot if you were being objective about it, but in my opinion, it's in my top 3. And I think most of that is for nostalgia's sake, but it's just the materia system is so fun to play with. And you can do so many different things with it. Like, I mean, You saw how we made a very simple materia setup and took down the emerald weapon on autopilot. We put the controller down and we let the game play itself for 18 minutes. But all in all, amazing game. If you haven't played the original and you've played Rebirth, I highly, highly recommend coming back and playing the original. And if you haven't played Remake and Rebirth yet, I would recommend going to play those too, because they're great games. It's just Rebirth might drive you a little nuts with the amount of mini games it has, but that's probably just a me thing. It drove me nuts, but overall, it's neat to see where they took this game into the remake and track the parts back and see the inspiration for other parts of the Final Fantasy VII universe with like, I didn't even touch on Dirge of Cerberus, but that's a thing. And then like Advent Children, they touch on parts of the Advent Children stuff with the DLC for Remake for Part 1. Seeing where Crisis Core came from with that last scene in the Shinra mansion, all that kind of stuff. And then seeing where they took this stuff from this and built it out and what they're doing now with the remake. It's really neat to see what they kept, what they cut, what they tweaked. New interpretations versus old stuff. But I think we will call this one a day here for now. And next time, I will meet you back at our final descent. And all of our stuff, all of our characters and stuff will be maxed out, including our stats. And we'll go down for round 2 with Sephiroth so I can show you his beefed up HP. And hopefully his full attack set in his second form. So, if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. And if you want to see more videos like these, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And until next time, thanks for watching.